Hello Fantasy Faithfuls, and welcome to the fourth team score projection video of the year featuring the Tennessee Titans. The players I will be focusing on are Marcus Mariota, Derrick Henry, Rishard Matthews, Corey Davis, Dion Lewis, Delanie Walker, and Taywan Taylor. As we always do, we need to know how many targets and carries the players will have to share. Their 2018 opponents give up very few rushing attempts, but a lot of passing. This does not fit well with the Titans. They land at a combined 441 rush attempts and 501 pass attempts. Looking at their 3-year trends, they usually spread the amount pretty evenly in the passing, with most of it going to the number 1 tight end with 23%, while the number 1 receiver gets 19 and the number 1 running back only gets 4. The number 1 back usually has 48% share of all carries, with 30% going to the second guy. Awesome for Dion Lewis, combined with his target of 11%.
Half yard on the play, 3rd down and goal. Tennessee in dire need of 6 and not 3. Mariota to the line of scrimmage, maybe across the line. It deflects back to him for a touchdown for the moment. But to
begin, we have Marcus Mariota. He will have 501 pass attempts and 55 rushing attempts. We always start with the quarterback, not only to analyze him, but also so we can use his passing patterns to figure out the pass catch vicinity with him. He spreads the ball very evenly, with a small advantage going to the left side of the field, but nothing too major. His completion percentage in the deeper zones are terrible and way below the league average. This can be attributed to his receivers too, of course, but seeing these numbers makes me think that he just sticks to passes that are shorter than 15 yards from the line of scrimmage. Furthermore, he does not even get that much of the passes thrown deep, being below in league average in all deep zones for yards per completion. Again, with focus on shorter passes, where he completes a lot, he can still get you some yards, especially when you take his running into the picture. He throws slightly less touchdowns than the league average with 4.2%, and I don't expect this to go up in a significant way. He has, through his career, thrown 39% of all his touchdowns in November, and that is something to keep in mind if you're streaming quarterbacks. His one-game floor over the last 3 years has been 8.7, and his one-game ceiling 24.2, putting him in top 10 in ceiling, but not even in the top 20 in floor. From his own passing, the pass catcher's abilities, his rushing trends, the opponents, and sack trends, we arrive at a score projection for Marcus Mariota, which I have at 133 points from his passing, 33 from rushing, 102 from touchdowns, and 257 in total.
This is a 3rd and 5. The pitch for Henry, and he's going to get the first down and more. Henry off to the races down the sideline. Can they catch him? They won't!
Next up is Derrick Henry with 210 carries and 20 targets. Breaking down his rushing to 7 lanes, we see that 28% of all his carries goes to either side of the center, and 16% goes outside the left tight end. His least used lane is outside the right tight end with 7%. The yards per carry are the highest when he runs outside the left tight end, which is perfect synergy, and his least productive lane is rushing outside the right guard. Henry is most productive in the month of November. He averages 5 yards per carry compared to under 4.5 in other months. He also has a huge preference when it comes to what down he plays. On 3rd down, he averages 7 yards per carry, which is way above the other downs. Henry's touchdown rate over the last 3 years has been 3.6%, which I expect to go up to 3.8 with him being their number 1 guy. Looking at his receiving, we see that he catches the ball more often than not and does really well when he has it in his hands. However, he has rarely been targeted, with leads in not gaining too many yards in the air. As RB2, his one-game floor has been 1.2 points and his one-game ceiling 14.2. Expect this to rise in 2018, but still be cautious. From his rushing, receiving, the team's blocking abilities, Mariota's passing trends, and opponents in 2018, we arrive at Henry's score projection, which I have as 91 points from the ground, 11 from the air, 54 from touchdowns and 156 in total.
3 receivers. Edelman. Is Brady still with it? Over to Lewis. Underneath he goes and into the end zone for the touchdown.
Next up is Dion Lewis with 132 carries and 55 targets. As we did with Henry, we break down his rushing to see that 32% of all his carries goes to either side of the center and 18% goes outside the left guard. His least used lane is outside the right tight end, which is the same as Henry. The yards per carry are the highest when he runs outside the right guard, which worries me since Henry, who played in Tennessee, is so unproductive there. Lewis has, through his career, averaged almost twice as many points against teams from the AFC compared to the NFC, which is good since tight ends are the same as the Patriots in the AFC. He is an extremely versatile running back, averaging over 4 yards per carry on all downs. Dion Lewis's touchdown rate is around the same as Henry, with 3.7% over the last couple of years. Lewis catches almost anything thrown to him, but does not gain too many yards from each completion. His stats should be roughly the same for the tight ends as they were with the Patriots when it comes to receiving. His one-game floor over the last 3 years has been 2.8 points and a one-game ceiling of 15.5. I expect this to stay roughly the same with the tight ends as in previous years. From his own rushing, receiving, the team's blocking abilities, Mariota's passing trends, and opponents in 2018, we arrive at Dion Lewis's score projection. I project him to score 61 points from the ground, 27 from the air, 36 from touchdowns, and 124 in total.
First down for Tennessee, Mettenberger to Walker. Walker breaks a tackle, works his way down the sideline. Walker, stiff arm, and he's gone. Touchdown.
The Titans don't have that many interesting pass catcher, but we will dig into a few and make some changes along the way. From the Titans market share, Matthews will see 93 targets as their number 1 receiver, Corey Davis 82, Taywan Taylor 58, and Delanie Walker gets the biggest share with 114 targets. Matthews is predicted to catch 58 balls, which is decent. Davis will only catch 47 of his 82 targets, and Taylor's a non-factor, with Delanie Walker is one of my favorite tight ends with 68 receptions. From the catches, Matthews will gain 766 yards, Davis 536, Taylor is a non-factor, and Walker finishes out with 822 yards. The group won't have anyone that separates in touchdowns, but we'll have 5, 3, 2, and 5 again. If you believe that Corey Davis will be the number 1 receiver, we can switch the market share. This would give Davis 93 targets instead of Matthews, and Matthews will catch 51 instead of his 58, and Davis 54 instead of 47. The yards would be 676 and 608. Davis would gain no touchdowns, and Rishard Matthews will lose 1. Lastly, a final look at the fantasy points. I'm very interested in drafting Marcus Mariota as a streaming quarterback. Derrick Henry, I'm okay with drafting. Dion Lewis could be my RB3, and I'm okay with having Matthews, but not too hype. And I love Delanie Walker. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more weekly content. And as always, the spreadsheets are dark and full of terror.